Picture this: an ideal summer evening. The sun is barely setting, the temperature is perfect, and you've lined this night up for a wonderful date out with you and your wife, pictured here so accurately by John Street Fighter and Karen Street Fighter 5. But you forgot about something. A major thing. Who's gonna take care of baby Hugo with his propeller hat and his Blanca-chan doll? He's only 5 years old. He can't live on his own. What are you gonna do? But then you realize the World Warrior Tournament is right nearby, and there's one thing you know everyone needs, and that's money. So you think maybe you can hire one of these warriors to babysit your child for the night, and that's why I'm here to help you figure out tonight. Now, before we get into the tier list, a few things need to be discussed. We have to lay out the ground rules for this. First of all, baby Hugo, he's 5 years old. It's very different taking care of a 1-year-old compared to a 10-year-old. Baby Hugo is neither of those. He's 5 years old, he's sort of in the middle, so his brain's still malleable, but he's not really able to do much on his own. But he can talk, I'll give him that. He can talk, and he can play. Number 2, this is a 6-hour venture. The date is gonna be nice, a little movie, a little dinner date at the Italian restaurant nearby, but nothing too major, only 6 hours, so if you can last for 6 hours, that's great. For this, we're gonna judge it on 3 bits of criteria. First, is the child safe by the end of the night? Are they scratched up, or are they completely unharmed? Second, is the child happy? Did they have a fun time? Did they enjoy who took care of them? And third, are they scared? Were they scared? Was this a scary experience for them? Next, we're going to move on to the tiers and what each of them mean. First is do not come near my child. That one seems self-explanatory. You're not going to hire this person. You're going to see them and immediately register this is not a person you want near your child whatsoever. Next is I'm okay, thanks. This person's not a bad person, they're just not fit for the job. You're not going to hire them, and that makes sense, and that's okay. Next is good for a day. So they're going to be great for just this one job. You're not going to hire them ever again. They go in, they go out, they get paid, you're done. Next is new mainstay. This is someone you want to hire maybe once every month. They did a good job, but they didn't do as good of a job as, wow, a bonus. Which means, again, probably once a month, maybe twice a month, but they're getting paid a little bit more because they did a little bit more, and they deserve it. And last but not least, top tier is nanny. This is someone you want baby Hugo to see once every week, maybe. This is a person that did a fantastic, exceptional job, and you want them to be there for baby Hugo's entire childhood. First of all, we got Ryu, of course, the main character of Street Fighter. He's this sort of nomadic figure who's constantly traversing countries to find new opponents to face, growing stronger with each step of every single day. Ryu is someone who does odd jobs in canon, so being a babysitter probably isn't too far-fetched for him. Now, I think he would do a perfectly adequate job. I think he'd put your kid to bed at a decent time. I think that he'd read a bedtime story. I think that he'd feed them properly. But I don't think he's going to be that personable with your child. I don't think he's going to put on an episode of Bluey and then act out what's going to happen in that episode. I think he's going to turn on Bluey and actually get kind of roped into it. He'll enjoy it, but he won't connect with Bluey. So that's why I think he'll go in good for a day. I think he'll do a good enough job for you to hire him and feel happy that you did hire him, but I don't think he's going to be a new mainstay. Now, of course, we have Luke, the new face of Street Fighter, and I think Luke is perfect to be a babysitter. I think he has that sort of energy, that drive to really make your kid laugh, really make your kid have a great time. The one problem is that I don't think Luke is going to follow your instructions properly. I think you're going to say, hey, the child's bedtime is at 8:30 and he can only have one slice of pizza and make sure he eats his vegetables. Luke is going to take that. He's going to do a great job with your kid. Your kid's going to laugh. Your kid's going to love Luke. But Luke is going to feed your kid 5 slices of pizza, 4 Oreos, no vegetables, and he's going to put him to bed at 11:30 after watching a scary movie. Now again, I think your kid's going to have a great time, but I don't think Luke is going to necessarily follow your instructions properly. I think he'll be a new mainstay. I think you can reliably call him and he will do the job, and he'll do the job pretty good, but I don't think you can necessarily trust him to be a nanny or give him that really good bonus. I think he'll just do a proper job and he'll be good. Now we have Chun-Li. Chun-Li is an Interpol agent. She knows responsibility, and when she rescued Li Fen, she raised her in a sort of motherly way, so she has experience on that front. I think Chun-Li would do a fantastic job. I think she'll put your kid to bed at a decent time. She'll read a really good bedtime story. I think she'll do a fantastic job. I can properly put her in WoW a bonus. I think she would do a great job, and I think you'd want to pay her that little extra and get that little extra back. Now we have Jamie. Jamie, his whole shtick in the game is that he drinks. They say it's tea. We know it's not tea. We know it's alcohol. He turns red. His clothes get all furrowed. His hair flows wildly. He's drinking alcohol. And when you want someone to take care of your kid, you don't want someone who's constantly drinking. I think he's a good guy, but do not come near my child. Absolutely not. Next we have Guile, a true American hero. Now Guile has a child in canon. However, me personally, I don't think I'd want him babysitting my child, my baby Hugo. He just is so stern, and I don't think he'd have that warmth that you'd really want with your 5-year-old child. I think he'd do the right thing. He'd follow every single instruction, but I don't think your kid would really enjoy being near Guile. Now, it's not a case of do not come near my child. I think he'd do a fine job. I'm okay, thanks. I don't want that. I don't need it. Now we have Kimberly. Kimberly is fun. She's great. I'm sure children would love her. She has all that spray paint, all those colors. Kids love colors. Kids love music. She's all about music, and she's all bouncing to the beat. I think she'd do a fantastic job. In fact, I think, wow, a bonus. I think she'd do great. Jury is not fit to be near any child at all. I think that's a terrible idea. She's violent, she's rude, she's sarcastic, she's gonna insult your kid, and your kid's not gonna understand what she means when she swears at the child, but they're gonna feel it in their heart. And do not come near my child at all. Next we have Dalsim. Now on the surface, Dalsim might seem a little scary. He has those stretchy abilities that look a little uncanny, and it's gonna scare a kid. He has those fire shooting abilities, again, a little intimidating for both a parent and a child. And of course, the skulls around his neck. Now they are respectful, and they are of cultural significance to his village. I will say, I think Dalsim would do a killer job as a babysitter. I don't think I'd give him a bonus, but I think he'd make your kid laugh. I think the stretchy abilities on the surface might seem a little scary, but he's gonna blow his cheeks out and do silly little faces. His face is so malleable, it's perfect for that. So I think he's gonna make your kid laugh. Your kid's gonna love Dalsim. I don't think Dalsim has the time to be a mainstay. I think he wants to stay at his village, and that's completely okay with me. I would say he is a new mainstay if he's comfortable with that, and that's totally cool with me. Next we have E Honda. Now E Honda is my guy. He is so kind. He's fun. He's funny. He has those silly faces that he makes at adults. So you know he's gonna make some killer silly faces at a kid. You know he's gonna tell a grandiose story during bedtime that he made up himself. He's gonna give great hugs. He's gonna make great food. He is lined up to be a absolutely perfect babysitter. In fact, I would go as far to say he would be a great nanny. He's fun to hang out with as an adult or for your kids, so honestly, I'd want him to be in my life, if anything. Now we have Ken. Ken is a father. He has experience in this territory, and I think Ken would do a great job of raising a child. However, in its current state in Street Fighter 6, he is accused of terrorism, which he didn't do, to be fair. But again, do you want an accused terrorist taking care of your child? Even if he didn't do it, it's not gonna be something I want my child interrogated by the police about. So, Ken, I love you. I think you do a great job, but for now, until Street Fighter 7, do not come near my child. Now we have Blanca. Now Blanca has the same sort of vibe that Dawson would give off. He seems scary. He's this huge hulking green monster with fangs. He shoots electricity, he roars, and he bounces around. He's scary. However, canonically, he's fantastic with kids, and he made those little Blanca-chan dolls. So honestly, if he takes care of my kid, I'm hoping for some free merch. I think I could get some out of him. So I think he'd do a pretty good job. I'd say good for a day. I think, maybe not good for a day. I think your child will be scared at first of Blanca, just as I would be. But I think over time, he'd really enjoy hanging out with Blanca. So I could see Blanca moving up to new mainstay, and maybe even a little bit higher. But for now, I'm thinking he sticks with new mainstay. Next we have DJ. I think DJ is a killer guy to hang out with if you're an adult. I think DJ would be too much for a kid. I think he'd want that kid constantly dancing, moving to the beat. And again, that's fun. For an hour, for 2 hours maybe. Kids have a lot of energy in them. But again, honestly, I think DJ would lose interest in taking care of my child after 3 hours. I think I'm going to come back from that date and I'm going to see my child totally washed out on the ground, no food in his stomach, and I'm going to see DJ partying his ass off in the corner. And I would want to join him, but I wouldn't be too thrilled about my child who's completely knocked out cold from exhaustion from dancing for too long. So I would say, I'm okay, thanks. But he'd be fun for an hour, maybe for a play date. I can do a play date with him. Next we have Manon. I don't think Manon is going to be too great taking care of a child. I think she's elegant. I think her judo abilities are exceptional. I think her ballet abilities are exceptional. I think she's too focused on her career right now, and I don't think she'd want to babysit a child. And again, that's her prerogative. She can choose to do that. So I'm going to say, I'm okay, thanks. But honestly, I think she's going to say, I'm okay, thanks. And that's what's more important here. Marissa, on the surface, a little intimidating. She's huge, she's hulking, she's boisterous. But I think that's perfect to babysit your child. I think she has that energy that matches with a child. I think they'll connect, they'll feel good about things. I think she's a very cultured woman. I think she'll make them a great dish that'll really get them accustomed to trying new things. I think she'll be there and help your kid learn to try new things. And that's very important. Your child's learning. So I'm going to move her up to new mainstay because I know I just did this. I think she could move up even further. I think she could be wow a bonus because if she's doing all that, feeding my child exceptional dishes, if I can try exceptional dishes, I'll want to partake a little bit. And hopefully, with that bonus, she'll allow me to. Now we have JP. JP worked for Shadaloo. That's not good. Shadaloo is fascistic. JP is a very serious man. He's a very elegant man. Besides the fascism, I think JP would be a great man to get tea with. I think I'd like to discuss a book with him. Maybe see an old film with him. I'm not letting him near my kid. It's not even a case of him being a fascist. I think it's a case of him being too fancy. I think your kid's gonna be bored when he meets JP. I think JP is gonna think your kid's too stupid to hang out with. I think he's gonna think I'm too stupid to hang out with. Which is disappointing, because I'd like to hang out with him. Besides the fascism's very bad, but I like his vibe. If we ignore the fascism, like he's like an elegant guy. He's kind of cool. Besides the fascism. So I'm gonna say do not come near my child on account of you won't like my child and also you are a fascist. Now we got Cammy. Cammy is a woman who has gone through so much. She has to fight through Shadaloo. She was mind controlled for so long and she had to do horrible, horrible things for M. Bison. I think those years have jaded her, and I think she is slowly coming to terms with that in a proper way. She's hanging out with all of her sisters, and I think she's great with cats. I think she'd be fine with a child, but I don't think she'd be exceptional with a child. I think she'd be good for a day, maybe. I think I wouldn't necessarily have her as my first choice, but I don't think she'd do a bad job. Lily's a child. She's like 19 or something, but she looks like a child, she sounds like a child, she acts like a child. She's basically a child, so not even like... No, I don't know if any of these fit. She's just straight up a kid. I would set up a play date. Well, my child here, baby Hugo, would be 5 years old, and Lily is not. But I think she'd be good with the kid. I think they have that youthful exuberance to hang out with my child. It's not really... I don't think... No, I mean, I could trust her with my kid. I think she'd do a good job. She's very respectful. She's very kind. She has that Satsui no Hado sort of underlying story, I heard. So maybe dangerous in a few years. But I think for now, she'd be good for a day. I think she still needs to go to school. Zangief. Zangief is on the same level of E Honda, where I'm thinking this guy is awesome. He is so friendly. He's hilarious. He's cultured. You don't think he is, but he really is. He reads books. He knows a lot of things. He could teach your kids so much stuff while also making them laugh their butts off. I think he's in the same tier as E Honda. I think these two would be a killer team to babysit a child. I'd see a movie like that. That would be awesome. I do think at first Zangief might scare a child, but again, I think that gentle bear sort of attitude will eventually add up, and I think your child's gonna love Zangief. Now we have Rashid. I love Rashid. I think he's charming. I think he's funny. I think he's fun. I think your kid's gonna think he's fun. I think he's gonna turn this into content for his YouTube channel. I don't want baby Hugo's face on YouTube. I don't need to see a thumbnail of Moist Critical next to baby Hugo's face with the baby Hugo situation is crazy. I don't want that. Rashid, I love you. I think you're awesome. I'm okay, thanks. I don't want Aki near my child. I'm just gonna get that out of the way right now. That sounds like a terrible idea. I think just she's obsessed with poisoning people. She's obsessed with Fong. Fong's a weird dude. And Fong also, big member of Shadaloo. Again, an actual fascist dictatorship. Not awesome. So she's sort of one step between being part of Shadaloo, and that's not a good combo with raising a child. Not raising a child, but like taking care of a child. That's not good. I don't want her near my child for numerous reasons, and I think it's pretty clear why. Ed is a broken man. I don't think he's in the position to take care of a child right now. I don't think he'd want to take care of a child right now, and that's totally okay with me, because he wasn't gonna be one of the first I would call. I think he'd do a fine enough job if push came to shove, but I don't think I'd want him near my kid right now. I think he'd lash out when the kid does something stupid, and the kid will do something stupid because they're a kid, and I don't think Ed's gonna take that too well. So I would put him in I'm okay, thanks. I don't think he's a bad guy, and I think eventually he could be good to take care of a child, but for now, I'm okay, thanks. Akuma's the weird one. I don't think Akuma would be that bad at taking care of a child. He's friends with Elena, so he can be good with people. He's not gonna see my child as a threat. Baby Hugo is 5 years old. His muscles might be massive, but he's 5 years old. He's not gonna fight Akuma, and Akuma is not gonna fight my child. Akuma ran a fruit stand. Akuma, originally in Street Fighter V, the idea was that Akuma would have a baby on his back while he's fighting. So he was gonna take care of a child in gameplay in Street Fighter V, and then the devs were like, no, that's a bad idea. They're wrong, it's an awesome idea, but there's sort of that connection there where I don't think Akuma would be necessarily bad at taking care of a child. Again, not my first choice, but not a bad choice either. I think he'd be good for a day. It seems weird, especially with all the devil stuff, his raging demon, the Satsui no Hado, but like, I don't think he'd be that bad. I feel like M. Bison's obvious. He used to be a dictator for Shadaloo, not great. He now is a homeless horse riding freak who steals people's powers to try to get stronger, and now he's all about just getting stronger. I don't even know what he wants right now. He doesn't have Shadaloo. I don't know if he wants to build up Shadaloo again, but he's not at all who I would consider to be a good idea to be near a child. He's a bad guy. He's not a good guy. Do not come near my child. Do not step 5 feet near my child. And this is the tier list. Right now, the Year 2 pass just started, but we know that Terry, Mai, and Elena are eventually coming to the game, so quickly run through those guys right now. I think Terry, canonically, raised Rock Howard. He's probably okay at it. I think okay. I think he'd be a good for a day guy. Mai, admittedly, I don't know a lot about King of Fighters or Fatal Fury, so I'm just judging by nothing here. She seems nice. Good for a day. Elena, I think, would be a great babysitter. She's very kind, she's very spunky, she's very nice, she's very fun. I think she would follow the instructions very well. I would say wow a bonus. I think she would do a bang up job. I think she'd be great. And that's the tier list. Now, even though I have E Honda and Zangief as my top choices for Nanny, I don't necessarily think they're going to be the best for a one-day singular venture for that 6-hour date. I think if I had to choose one person here for just one babysitting job, I would probably choose Kimberly. I think Kimberly would do a pretty good job. I think she'd do a great job. Kimberly is just sort of someone that will connect with your kid in a proper way. She'll follow the instructions well. She'll be fun for the kid. She'll be nice to you. And I think she would deserve a bonus. I would probably move her up to Nanny, but I don't think she'd really want that. She's pretty young. There's no reason for her to do that. So I would say, wow, a bonus. I think she'd do a fantastic job. She would be my first pick for a singular day venture, but if I need a nanny, I'm going E Honda all day. Thank you for watching. This is my first video ever, so I'm gonna have to still figure some things out, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like, I hope you comment, and I hope you subscribe and stick around to see what's coming up in the future. So thank you for watching, and have a fantastic day.